Isn't it hard to imagine a time when the family car wasn't a status symbol, it wasn't the size of a small caravan, it was just a mobility solution to affordably get you and your family from A to B in comfort and relative style. And cars like the Fiat Panda were the order of the day back then. People didn't have money for two large SUVs in the driveway. They barely had enough money for a two-door Panda, or maybe a Fiesta, or a Golf, or a Corsa. And that did everything the family needed it to do. And if the last few years have been a total washout of large SUVs, it feels 2025 and 26 have become a golden era of the small segment car. And cars like this should make it interesting again. That's the idea anyway. So the Panda is back, and it's fully electric or petrol hybrid if you don't want to take the plunge just yet. And now Fiat are owned by Stellantis, quite a large automobile corporation. So you would like to think some of the problems and electrical issues and reliability issues of that name have been eradicated. And we'll get to that in the video. And while this humble little car from Fiat with the famous Panda name is back, is it actually any good in 2026, and how does it stack up to the competition? Welcome to Nobby on Cars.
Fiat have splattered their logos all over the car so you won't forget who you've given your hard-earned money to. And for a small car, it has a decent boot with 361 litres in the battery electric vehicle version, which should do around 300 kilometres by the way, or a larger 412 litres in this 1.2 petrol hybrid. There's reasonable leg and headroom and a clever pocket on the back of the front seats for devices.
Between the pixelated headlights at the front, the slightly unusual looking plastic boxes on the rear headlights, the Panda lettering that's actually inscribed on the lower part of the door. Yes, it's a car that shares a platform with lots of other vehicles in the Stellantis group under different brands, but they have definitely put their own stamp on this car. Again, you're not going to forget what you're driving. Fiat lettering here, Panda here. It's got a wiper, it's got a kind of utility vehicle look to it, a little bit high off the ground. You've got the roof rails, just nice, different textures and colours going on. And if you're wondering, can you get a week shopping into the boot of the new Panda? Well, you actually can. It's quite a decent space. A very quick history lesson, the Lingotto plant where they produced these cars for decades features quite a lot in the vehicle. So you have the famous rooftop track with the curvatures in it, which was used in the Italian job. That is what this whole piece is on the center of the dash. It's also further displayed around the gear shift selector, the wireless charging plate. You've got Fiat embossed in the door cards. You've got Panda inscriptions on the seats. It does stand out from a lot of other cars under the Stellantis umbrella. It's even got a sliding armrest, which, as you know if you're a regular viewer of the channel, I'm a big fan of. And generally I like what they've done with the place. They've got a split glove box with bamboo fibre because pandas like bamboo. You've got a floating shelf down here. It's colourful, it's bright, it's charming. It's a little bit different to what we've seen. Now the central infotainment system, it's a little bit basic, so you're going to end up using your CarPlay, your Android Auto, and you'll forget about it. It doesn't really do an awful lot. The driver's display then is colourful, it's got enough information, and to turn off some of the ADAS stuff, there's an actual physical switch down here which you hold down for a couple of seconds, and there's two USB-C charging ports also, as well as plenty of space to hold drinks. So it's again another car that's very practical on the inside and lots of space despite the smaller footprint of the vehicle. Just two issues I need to point out, and it's on the electrics front, and I don't think the Fiat thing, the legacy issues of the challenges the brand had are an actual thing here, because as I mentioned, you've got a massive corporation building these cars with, you'd assume, the same levels of quality control throughout. Once during the week when I got into the car, the folding mirrors did not fold out, and you can't open them physically with your hands. You have to turn off the car and turn it on again. And the proximity warning, the front sensor, it just comes on for no reason when you're driving. Nothing in front of me, and it's screaming at you for maybe 10 seconds, and then it goes off. And yesterday I was getting out of the car, and the car alarm started screaming. So maybe it's just this car. I don't think it's a Fiat thing, but those three issues happened, and the proximity thing every day. It's a very mild hybrid system, so it's effectively for getting you away from the lights or a stop smoothly, and then the petrol engine will kick in. It's a 1.2 3-cylinder petrol engine. I've seen 6.8, 6.9 litres per 100 kilometres, which is just okay. I probably would have expected to see it a little bit better. Perhaps on motorway driving that will improve, but for a small city car, maybe it's a little bit high. It's reasonably fun to drive, and once you're on the move, it's very smooth. It can just be a little bit jerky if you're in stop-start traffic. There's plenty of adjustability in the driver's seat or on the steering column. So if you don't like sitting on the ground, and despite it being a somewhat smaller car, you can still sit with an elevated position with a good commanding view of the road if you'd rather that kind of driving style. The steering has a little bit of weight to it, so it's not overly light. Some city cars can suffer from that. There is body roll if you really provoke it, but I don't know if you're going to be shifting directions so aggressively in your typical drive in a Panda. And another benefit of it, it will do a lot of the braking for you. So when you're approaching stopped vehicles in traffic or a roundabout, you lift off the accelerator, there's a controllable level of regen as well in the car, and it actually does a lot of the regular work of the brake pedal for you. You will still have to stand on it, but it's definitely got a decent amount of assistance there. So if you were perhaps an older person, it's just something else to take the hard work out of driving for you. While this obviously isn't the EV version, when you're on a good road and you're just coasting along, it's really, really quiet. Now, if this car is too big for you, there's also an actual Panda, the smaller Panda version of the car. That is on the cards. I don't know if it's a case of they need to see how well this car does, or it's a guaranteed thing. The other thing, having been to Turin when this car was launched, is seeing how affordable it is in Italy. It's a proper people's car price tag, and in Ireland, as usual, we end up paying more. Genuine question I have, though, is, are we a little bit snobby about car size in this country? I mean, I have tested this car doing all of my usual things, bar have to carry a bike, which you could fold the seats down and do that, and I haven't had the dog in the car with their dog box. But I mean, it has done everything else. It's done all the school runs, and I share the drops with other parents, so I genuinely have 4 kids in the car, with the shopping, all that stuff was just not a problem. And for longer journeys, you might say, yeah, I'd like a more comfortable car, although it is, like the seats and everything is all right. But anyway, are we just a little bit able to turn our nose up at smaller cars? And particularly in Ireland and maybe the UK, but I find that because cars are so expensive, people kind of want something to show for their purchase. And maybe that's the reason we're a little bit weird about smaller cars. Either way, there's a lot of jobs that they do really, really well. They're easier to park, navigate in traffic, more forgiving over speed ramps because they're not as cumbersome. I think there's a lot to be said for the small car, even if it is a second car in the house. But let me know, are you a little bit allergic to something smaller these days because everyone else has a large SUV and you feel you need a large car to be safe on the roads? I don't know what it is, but I feel like there is a thing. And cars like the Fiesta, for now at least, are dead. We're not going to see a right-hand drive Renault Clio here till 2027. So of your small city car options, this is definitely one of the more colourful, more interesting ones on sale right now. So I think this is definitely a car that is one of those don't judge a book by its cover cases. I've brought 4 kids to school this week. I've done the weekly shopping in the boot. I've cruised around. It's been fairly frugal on fuel, not quite Toyota levels of fuel efficiency. And it certainly stands out. Now, being this colour, that would help with that, but it's got a lot of attention on the road. So whether people remember the Panda name or it's just an unusual looking car in a world of Lidl car parks where everything looks the same and grey. So it's got lots of personality and a bit of character to it as well. I do have to point out that if you want a more affordable way to run this car, then you have to consider electric. It's also going to be a little bit smoother to drive. This hybrid system can be a little bit clunky, but once it's up and running on the road, it's absolutely fine. So let me know, are you someone who likes to stand out a little bit and feels that a yellow Panda would do just that? Or would you actually give it a miss because you don't want to stand out in said car park in Lidl? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for coming this far with me in the video today. You might consider subscribing as well and liking the video. I'll see you next time.